Hi guys, Fourteenth Prime here with the 1,000 subscriber Q&A video, which of course you can tell it is a very different style. You see my face and everything, which do bear with me because of course I'm not used to doing it like this. Like I had to like rig up a sort of setup to where the lighting looked fine and like everything just kind of worked, and use these shelves as a background, which they work. They're a nice little background. And have to have my questions like down there, so I will be looking down there a bit while I read the questions, because you know I need to know what I'm doing. Unfortunately, I do not have a teleprompter like right there. It'd be great. If I ever do this again, maybe I should get one. But with that being said, so all the questions from the Q&A video will be here, and all the ones from the community posts will be here as well. So everyone's questions is getting answered. Some people's were grouped together just because they asked basically about the same question, so they got all put together. So before we get into those, I do want to get into two big questions I'm asked very often, just to get them addressed and out of the way right now, because even some people did ask these here. The first one is, do I do commissions? Which the answer to this is yes. However, I like to deal with that through my Facebook page, which you can go on there, and the very first post you'll see is about commissions. Like it has like information about it and everything, and what like my own personal rules are for it. So check that out if you are interested in that. And then the second one is, what brand paints do I use? Because like I'm kind of surprised people still don't know. I show them off in every custom review, but it's Tamiya brand paints. I use both the spray paints and I use the like hand paints that the little hand paints they have. And you can, in the US, they're tricky to find. You can get them off Amazon or like online retailers, but they tend to be very expensive. The best place I found to like drive somewhere and get them is Hobbytown USA store locations, which there aren't a ton of, at least in my area. Like I have to drive like an hour and a half to get paint. I literally have to just go on a paint run one day out of the weekend and go get paint. So I guess look up local store locations near you. Maybe you have one in your town. You are very lucky if you do. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into the questions. So scrolling down on here right quick. Emerald Flash asks, what is your favorite collection of painted figures? Which, I mean, there you go. That's obviously the biggest collection of painted figures, so I mean, it's sort of automatically the favorite, because while I do other things here and there, like I do have a couple Chug, I do have a couple Beast Wars, a couple Unicron Trilogy, like none of them are really like full force, this is a collection, whereas this is like, yes, because like this entire shelf and then down there is like either painted figures or reuses. So there you go. Crumple Zone asks, would you consider doing a Sandstorm repaint of Scorpionoc? Which I know it sounds like a weird question to put in the Q&A, which to be fair it is, but there's a bigger reason why I want to address this now. I don't plan on doing any Shatter Glass Beast Wars, and that's just because I don't personally care much for them. Like there's no real lore behind it, there's nothing interesting going on. If I mean, like if Hasbro makes any, like if they make any like the official paint jobs for whatever reason, I'll totally snag that. Like why not? But I don't really intend on doing any customs myself. So anyone that's been like, man, where are them Kingdom Shatter Glass Beast Wars figures? I'm sorry, that's just not what I'm planning on doing. However, Grimlock's not Grimlock's Forge. It's Grimlockamus. There we go. Grimlockamus on Instagram, and I think he has a Twitter too. He's done a couple here and there, and they look really good. Definitely check him out, especially just for Shatter Glass customs in general. He's done some great ones. Bloodstreak asks, do you have any tips for beginners in customizing Transformers? And so a few like pointers, I guess. A, do not use the Walmart paints, like the paint brand you can buy at Walmart. They aren't meant really for like painting like models and things like that. They're for like wood and like those kind of things, meant to like take things like rain and whatnot. They're not meant to be objects that are move and get like wear and tear from that. So don't use those. And also do not use fingernail polish remover. It has a chemical in it that melts plastic. Don't use that at all. So I'm saving anyone else the trouble. Don't use either of those. That's my tip. Don't do that. There's plenty of brands meant for painting models, do your own research. You don't even have to use Tamiya. I just personally like Tamiya. If you don't, that's fine. Use testers or other ones. I only remember testers. So there you go. All right, DJ Vaporwave asked, if you could start your own third-party company, what figures would you make? So I'm not entirely set in stone on one idea. Like, if, for example, if it was a knockoff company, I'd honestly want to do a lot of like upscaling of figures that I feel like just need it. Like ones like upscales and tweaks, sort of like maybe APC stuff. Maybe even a bit like trans art. Except it would be like things, for example, like animated Lugnut, like upscale him and then tweak him to not have the giant freaking weapon, like the weird staff thing. Upscale him to like maybe like an ultra class, just because, you know, big boy or SS86 Grimlock size, and just like kind of do things like that. However, if it was a third-party company, I'd probably go for like chug scale. I'd probably honestly like the Make Toys thing. Like, you know how Make Toys had like the cross dimensions line and things like that. It's probably sort of be that, except it'd be a bit based on other things. Like I'd maybe make like a new Fire Convoy in that style, or like even an animated Optimus, because we don't get enough animated in that. Or shoot, who knows? Maybe I'll just decide, you know what, I'm gonna do animated third-party figures. hire Sam's Forge. Come on, let's do this. There we go. That's what I'd do. Alright, Primal the Emperor asks, your favorite Autobot / least favorite Decepticon? So, my favorite Autobots have always been Jazz and Prowl. Those are my boys. I love them. My least favorite Decepticon, I honestly wasn't fully sure about this one because, like, there's a lot of Decepticons that aren't very noteworthy. Like, Reflector doesn't really do much. The Battle Chargers are cool, but they don't do anything. Like, there's a lot of throwaway guys. This is Transformers. There's too many characters. There's too many. But for me, probably the Coneheads are like my least favorite. They're just the Seekers, but boring. So they, like, I mean Ramjet's alright. I think Ramjet looks cool, but the rest of them just, and then G2 Ramjet. G2 Ramjet is amazing. It's the only amazing Conehead. But otherwise, I just don't care for the team that much. So that'd probably be it for me. Larry Arts Productions and Nick Durkee asks, which, sorry, I probably mispronounced that last name. What is your holy grail figure? Either one you have that you treasure dearly, or one that you want desperately. So, I don't think I really have ones that I consider grails. There are like bigger figures that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really glad I was able to get this, like Planet X, Omega Supreme, and Trypticon. I was never expecting to own those, but I got some pretty good deals last year with the BBTS sale, and then I ended up finding Omega just on Facebook for a really good price, so that works. Earlier this year, I did end up getting the music label Shatter Glass Soundwave, which I love him dearly. That is actually probably a Grail figure. But right now, I guess like the hard to find sort of Grail figures that I'm looking for is GDO, Ironhide, and Starscream. However, recently I was able to find an Ironhide from a guy also on Facebook, because I get a lot of deals there. So I just gotta get the other one. They're both really hard to find figures, so the fact I found one is amazing. All right, a guy whose name is Undersoar. I honestly, like, I can't be mad at that. I kind of love it. Undersoar asks, what would be the repaint remold Shatter Glass with 4 for Cybertron Trilogy molds official to see in your collection? Now, that's just really weirdly worded. I'm assuming he means the subline. I'm going with that. If you don't, I'm sorry. I'm assuming that's what you mean. But I am getting all of them. Yes, even Goldbug, despite doing the custom. Because A, I want the comics, which I'm not sure if I'm gonna talk about them in the channel. I'll do a community post about it eventually, but we'll get there when we get there. And also because I do want to review each of them. I want the comics. I want to, you know, like I was gonna get all of them except for Goldbug for sure, but then I was like, you know, I got the rest. I might as well get Goldbug at least to review, at least to own the comic, and then maybe sell off the figure after all that. Who knows? We'll see. Alright, Connor Glover, Spidey Awesome, Ben Opalka asks, what is your favorite custom that you've done? And I'm sorry if I butchered, actually let me phrase that, I'm sorry if I butchered any names during this, forgot to mention at the beginning. May or may not butcher your name, I apologize. But for me, I don't really have like a singular, this is the best thing I've ever done custom. Like there's some that I really enjoy. Shatter Glass Goldbug was a really good highlight of this year. Despite the issues with my 2 welcoming committee members, I do still really enjoy them. Scattershot was one, the Protoform Jazz, like there's several that I really do enjoy a lot. So I really can't pick just like this is the one, this is the guy that I love the most. I don't have him. So it's several of them that I'm just like, these guys are great, and that's about all it can do. But I mean, at least it goes to show that I like a lot of the work I do, which you should. You should always like the work you do. Alright, Michael Clickard asks, how long have you been making customs? Now, there's 2 ways to ask this question: how long I've been doing them in general, and how long I've been doing them to where they look half decent. If I remember correctly, I think it was around the time Age of Extinction came out, where I started like doing it in general, like when I was starting to learn everything and all that. And the point when I consider that I got good, quote unquote, got good, is whenever The Last Night came out with that wave 1. Like I think I even reviewed Barricade on the channel. So I think it was like one of the first custom reviews was Barricade, because that was the first one that I did. That was like, I was actually getting out of Tester's Paint and into Tamiya, and once I got into Tamiya is when I started getting to the get good phase, I guess. So there you go. I've been doing this for a good couple of years, because I think it was 2014 Age of Extinction came out, so I guess that makes it 7 years, like in general. But then The Last Night, I think, came out 5 years ago. I really don't remember. we all drown out The Last Night. Come on, like it's okay. We can. No one has to be ashamed of drowning out that movie. Running Fox Productions asked, what is a dream figure you wish #/third party would tackle? For me, it is a new version of Robots in Disguise 2001 Grail Racer. I've always loved trains since I was little, and like I'm not really into Raiden just because he's in a show that I never watched or cared about. I'm sorry, Japanese G1 fans. You guys are still cool, but I don't know much about it. But Rail Racer was like the first train combiner, and I was like, oh my god, there's one that's trains. And I ended up actually finding a Rail Racer, I think last year. He's not complete, I still need his guns, but I'd love like at least a commander sized one, or even like a Titan class, where like each one is like the size of like SS-86 Grimlock, because they're big boys in the show. So that would be like, for me personally, the dream figure I want to happen is that. Will that ever happen? Probably not, but I can dream. Victor Nunn asks, can you do crossover customs? Now, I technically sort of have. Like I did the Master Chief thing, which, like I mentioned in that video, was more so like my friend's idea that I was just kind of doing too, and he gave me permission to review it. So there is that. And I do have one more that I plan on doing. Like this isn't really gonna become a big recurring thing, but it's one I had an idea for, and I was like, why not? Let's do it. So I sort of do them, unless you mean like the crossover molds, like the actual crossover line, like use those molds. Probably not, just because they're expensive to get, and I don't really have any ideas for them, so not really anything I can do. Alright, Alex Lemons has a good couple of questions for us, so let's go ahead and shoot through these right quick. Number 1, have you considered picking up MMC's Red Tarn to use as Shatter Glass Tarn? Yes, I would love to, but it's really expensive, so I haven't been able to. However, I would if I could. Another question, which color scheme would you pick for Shatter Glass Lugnut? Probably there's that one, I think it's the official one that like they chose for like a Shatter Glass Lugnut for animated, but it's like the Perceptor colors like Shockwave, since they're both purple, so it makes some sense they both be the same base red color. So something like that, like something like Perceptor's colors but altered in a certain way to where it isn't just Perceptor's colors. Do you plan to expand your channel to other topics? I have considered it a bit. Like, I've considered a few things, actually. Like, for one, there's like, different sort of review styles I sort of want to do. Like, not really for the custom reviews, just because how they work, they're very stock standard. But, like, in terms of, like, doing a bit more focus on some video reviews here and there, like, they won't dominate the channel. We're still going to have custom reviews. They're still going to be, like, the main thing. These are just going to be some of the bigger videos I personally work on because I just want to talk about it. Like sort of like in a maybe like a Thu style thing, but we'll figure that out. I've also sort of considered doing like some Lego videos because I've recently been getting back into Lego sets through Lego Star Wars. However, I don't really think I have the audience for that, so I probably won't. But I at least thought of a few things, so we'll see what happens. There's ideas happening. What would you like to see in a live-action Wreckers film? I'm assuming you mean like the IDW ones, which honestly, just make the just do what DC Comics does with their animated movies. Just make that. Just make the comic into a movie. Don't like completely shoehorn and change the entire thing. Like I'd be fine with just getting 1-to-1 Last Stand of the Wreckers animated. I could deal with that. That'd be great. If you could meet one Beast Wars actor, who would it be? I'm not actually fully sure who I would like want to meet specifically. Like, of course, there's David Kaye, which everyone loves, which of course I love too. He's great. But I might actually meet Gary Chalk this year because I'm going to TFCon, so that'll be fun. If I do meet him or not, who knows? All right, that's all of his questions. So Dredge X97 and Spidey Awesome both ask, what is your least favorite custom? Literally the only one that comes to mind is Shatter Glass Reflector, and that's just because painting with yellow was so bad. I cannot describe how awful that is. I had another yellow custom that I fully canceled because that's how much I did not like that experience. So probably Shatter Glass Reflector, just because yellow is really difficult and I don't want to do it again. Alright, Blue Raccoon 10 has like 2 questions for us. First one, if you worked for Hasbro, would you recommend them make a Shatter Glass Transformers series rewrite of G1? Well, Shatter Glass in general is like, it's not like a mirror of any specific universe. It is very G1 based, but it's not like 1-to-1 G1 cartoon, but the opposite. So it probably wouldn't be like a strict rewrite of G1. It'd be like Shatter Glass. It'd be like any other Transformers continuity. It mixes different ideas and concepts and kind of puts them together and plays with them, has fun. That's what I would do. And he did ask another one. Not a personal question. Do you live in the West Coast? If so, do you know any stores in South Carolina? Now, of course, like I do not live around this area, but what I normally do whenever I go to like a newer area is I'll look up like vintage toy store locations in that area or like comic book shops in that area, see what I can find. That's usually what I do anyways. Like whenever, for example, like I went out of town like earlier this year to a town I don't normally go to. I looked up some shops and I actually found some really good vintage toy store shops in that town. So there you go. It was a fun time. So I guess just look up that, see what you can find, see if there's anything around you. Best of luck. All right. Master Farr asks, is Shatter Glass your favorite iteration? Partially yes. That and More Than Meets the Eye are my 2 favorite like Transformers things in general. If I had to pick a third, it'd be animated. So there you go. Made Tailgate asks, what is your opinion of G2? I really love the repaints that they do. A lot of the color schemes are really interesting. Here's all the ones that I own now. Like I don't release all the generations one. I don't own any original G2 toys, and the wraps are pretty great. Ben Snell asks, what is your favorite movie figure that isn't based on a character from the movies? Ah yeah, finally the good questions. I love a lot of those obscure movie toys. The Big Thu video was great for that. But of course, like the Mad Lad, Stockade, Incinerator, like Long Arm, Landmine, all those boys. But there are like some more like smaller ones here. Like I love Doom Runner from Revenge of the Fallen, and Payload. Not the Revenge of the Fallen long haul G2 color scheme, but the other one. The one no one else cares about. Mato Potato has a few questions for us. I love that name. What is a custom that you are just dying to make but haven't gotten around to yet for whatever reason? One I'd just love to own in general is a Shatter Glass finisher. I really want him to show up in the sub line, but he won't. Hasbro won't just give him to me. But the reason why I don't really do him is because he's both white and red, which are really, really hard customs to work with. But there's actually several customs I just haven't gotten around to for one reason or another. Just like I haven't had time, or I'm working on other things, or just other things. I'm like, I want to do this first. But yeah, I have a couple figures just like sitting in a box ready to paint. I just haven't gotten around to. We'll get to them. It will all happen in due time. And have you ever considered making tutorial videos? I have thought about it a good bit. I was actually considering doing that, maybe for like a 1,000 subscriber thing, but I'm not fully sure how to go about it. Like, I haven't fully figured out like how I would explain it, because I can't explain to people how to paint really. Like I've tried to think about how I would do it, and I just can't. So I'm not 110% sure. If I ever figure it out though, I will more than likely make them for the channel, because I know a lot of people want those, and I do understand that. Alright, Spiderbot Studios asks, if you could dictate or create any Transformers line, what would it be about and who would you include? Alright, so I would probably I would do Thrilling 30 again, but just have a lot more in it. Like we throw in like some animated and some Unicron Chody, RID 01, like even RID 2015, because I want Shop so bad. The design is just really good. I hate the fact that I didn't even get any toy of it. But it's either that, or I would probably bring back classics in a way. Like I'd bring it back, except have more influences from it. Like I'd probably, like for example, Optimus Prime be more of like a fire truck instead of just typical cab. Maybe like based on RAD01, but then the robot mode is a bit animated G1-ish, like sort of that. That'd be neat. Get those kind of things essentially. So it's kind of the same, really. It's just that one of them is making like really good representations of that design. The other one is creating brand new designs of popular characters. So there we go. One or the other. 360verse asks, what equipment do you think you'll invest in next for your videos? Currently, I don't really think I need anything yet. Maybe a new light setup and setup for this. If people don't like how this looks, I'm sorry. I haven't done a video like this in this area. I don't know. I hope this turns out okay. But probably sometime next year I do want to find a new light setup in general, and I'll probably invest in a new camera in around that same time. So we'll see how it goes. Crazy Kid Studios asks, who or what got you into Shatter Glass? Now for me it was probably, of course, like I'm assuming a lot of other people. I'm assuming the Crossroads Productions Broken Mirror video, which I'm pretty sure got a lot of other people in the Shatter Glass too. However, I was always into like Mirror Universe concepts before that, which I can't really remember like the first one I saw, but like the main one that comes to mind is the show Batman the Brave and the Bold. There's that one 2-part episode where Batman had Owlman come to like his dimension, and he ended up having to dress as Owlman to go to the alternate dimension and figure out what was going on with all that. Which I remember I really enjoyed that whole episode arc. I thought it was really good. Which Batman the Brave and the Bold in general, good show. Go watch it. It's fun. So there you go. Alright, Ben Opalka asks, what is your favorite Transformers stop motion series? Either the Ascension verse by Crossroads Productions or like the just long running series by TFX Productions that will maybe one day end. No one knows. He popped back on the radar a few days ago. We'll figure it out when we do. Gabriel the Person asks, how did you come up with your YouTube name and why? So, a fun fact for anyone that has been here this long, and if you have been, I'm sorry. My name initially was Sean Prime 01. That was like my username to begin with, and it was, I think, like that for a good 2 or 3 years. Until I got to the point where I just kind of decided I wanted something a bit different because that just sounded a bit weird to me. And so the most beautiful reasoning possible happened for how I came up with my name. I literally just remember like sitting one day and I was just like, you know, they never go into like a 14th prime. And I was like, you know, that's not a bad idea for a name. And so that's what I went with. Since like I didn't really think anyone else was using it, even though there apparently is like some other people using it, but I think their channel is mostly inactive. I don't know. I haven't looked it up in a while anymore, so I'm not fully sure. And then the final question by Keish TV. Do you like Transformers? No. Alright, so that was it. That was all your questions. Again, thank you everyone who participated. Thanks everyone for just being around, watching the videos, giving support. I appreciate it. And let's see how far we can go from here. We might do more videos like this. I don't know. I might add segments like this into my videos. I've sort of debated about it, but who knows? I might not. We'll see. So yeah. Anyways, that is pretty much all I have to say. So be sure to check out my channel for video and custom reviews, and please don't forget to subscribe. You can of course also go check out my Facebook and Tumblr pages, both linked in the description below. And you can also come join the Infinite Sun Discord server, also linked in the description below. And this is the 14th Prime, signing out.